What is good? Wow, what a volatile day. I mean, we got GME going, BBBY going, COS, Revlon, like you name it, like all these meme stocks within the whole basket are just kind of getting shaken, thrown around, giving short sellers a run for their money, probably even putting some short sellers' Twitter accounts out. I don't want to point to names there, but it's just man, feels good. Feels good to finally see some movement, some volatility within, just shaking up that basket. Gonna get right to it though. It is your boy Nick popping in to give you some technical analysis, things I'm looking at on AMC, um, along with some potential scenarios, things that I like in regards to recent days, current setup, what to look for going forward. So popping right into it. But as always, not a licensed financial advisor. Do hold my Series 763 and my SIE, so take what I say with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, it is my educated opinion, and that is it. So we are on the daily. Just giving you some perspective here with resistance lines, VPR, all that jazz. Don't want to kind of beat a dead horse. Most of you that have been watching my videos, I kind of start out with this. These are kind of just some gaps within VPR that I'm watching. You'll see it a little bit closer when we go into more near-term movements. My Thinkorswim is being very laggy today, so bear with me. Just wanted to hop in here and get a quick video in. So there is some lags within. Sorry. It kind of started this morning, to be honest. We'll kind of cover that here shortly once we get into more of the micro. But I do want to hit on some different things that I'm seeing in regards to bullish sentiment. First off, I know we kind of talk a lot about this channel that we're currently in, just being respected. Anything above the white tends to be our most bullish movements. Through the green is more of your lid lifts. Sometimes you can get false breakouts and come back down. We've seen a few of those lately, but basically like to be above this white line to just show strength within our movements. I'll add the standard deviation lines on here shortly. I just kind of got a lot of lines going on, so I don't want to make it too congested for those of you watching on your mobiles or anything like that. So what I do like to see, and I mentioned this in the last video, kind of the breakthrough and testing some of these upward trend lines and then retesting the bottom of them, or in this case, the 200 SMA, along with the continuation. So we kind of came all the way back down, retested that 200 SMA, came up, tested this top trend line, came back down, tested this midline I mentioned on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, I believe. Yep. I didn't think we needed to pull back near as far that most people were saying. Some were saying that we're going down to 200 SMA. I figured that we didn't need something quite that extreme. Maybe just retest the breakout zone, which is what we did. Again, this isn't me tooting my own horn or anything like that. It's just showing that the analysis was there and that I love the fact that it's sticking with it and kind of holding in. I did add this kind of regression channel that I've used previously just as a resistance line, something that I want to not stay between, but just give a perspective as to what lines we need to break in order to get our full lid lift. Because if you saw today, even out of the gates, like AMC, I'm a big price action analyst as well, meaning like I watch time and sales, the orders flowing through that are usually greater than 1,000 lots, and just the effects that it has. But it was very odd this morning to see right off of open. I thought it was just Thinkorswim at first, just kind of being laggy, but orders just weren't really flowing through under the 1,000 lot limit. It was more so the price was kind of ticking up and down, but there was nothing coming through with 1,000 lot or greater. And then within about 30 seconds, they started hitting, and we started catapulting up, and then got topped off. Could use better choice of words there. But we got topped on the Twin Tower on the 2 5-minute candles, came back down, just extremely volatile. So I knew right away, I was like, okay, this isn't your standard day. Like we didn't break down, get a retest, and then shoot up. We kind of started the day off strong, which I was like, that's kind of what I wanted, because that usually leads to our strongest volume days per se, but there wasn't much volume throughout pre-market, so it was very odd to start. And I knew kind of once I saw multiple candles with the double top that it was going to be a psychological day. I was like, something's getting shooken up. mentioned in the Discord, like, this is not normal. Like, I don't know if it's just across the board, whatever they're trying to do to suppress this, but it was just a very abnormal day, which is good for me to see because that shows that the algo's kind of getting shifty, getting to a point where it's suppressing buy volume or not wanting people to think we're going to break out or that we're going to flush. We saw that big time in the afternoon when SPY took a dip off the peak there. So a lot of psychological games within this zone. I did mention that within this kind of region here, our VPR is lower. I'll get into the 1 year daily just so you can kind of see a little bit more about what I'm talking about here. So we're on the 1 year daily candles. You can kind of see, I mean, we're actually filling up this VPR region very well. So I love the fact that we're doing that because we're kind of building our base. I know Pinoy and a few different people on social media are talking about this parabolic arc that we're forming. Love the fact people are using that. Thinkorswim, you can't really build that necessarily, but I see what they're talking about, like as if we're in base 3 here. You'll see it more on kind of the 180-day 4 hour, but we are building a base. So like the fact that we maybe didn't break out to new tops or new highs here today, I'm sure it's a little discouraging, but to see the demand there and kind of the hold within the daily candle, I mean, we closed 2.5% up. There's not a whole lot of negatives to look at besides the fact that it's just a psychological game here that these short sellers are going to try to play to almost force you to scalp the position or to doubt where we're at within it and just kind of throw fear at you, shake up, get any shares that they can get. Like they obviously were holding AMC back the whole entire day versus, I mean, GameStop even had that lid lift and just kind of took off, but then in a day sold. But like you got BBBY and Revlon, I mean, different ones that obviously sold at the end of the day, but you didn't really see any big movements from AMC until maybe before that 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, around then 1 Eastern, just the afternoon when you got that sell off there. So it just goes to show that this seems to be, and I'm not an elitist, like I hold GameStop as well, and I love the movement that we got today. I got some good scalps out of my account that were expiring Friday. Holding a few, still holding most of my 819s on AMC. I want to see some larger movement here, but it goes to show that there's something big behind here, whether it's fear of people buying more and flooding in for ape, which according to investor relations, you can purchase that up until Friday Friday before close in order to receive the dividend. And it says to talk to your broker. I was telling people that based on a normal dividend, you have to own it before the end of record date. But based on this being a special dividend, it usually falls into the investor relations side of things. So what they said is prior to 8/19 close, you're eligible for that dividend. So anyways, like there was there's fear within here on the short seller side that they don't want to let this thing lift off. So rather than too much more talking on that, I want to keep this video short. Say that all the time, but this will be less than 15 minutes here. A key zone that I really want to see break out of here is you see this regression channel coming off the 34 top. Got your 2750, your top here right around 27. This is a daily, so it may not be catching after hours there. The breakout point that I want to see going into tomorrow, and I really want to see this tomorrow, because if we don't see it tomorrow, it's going to be some sideways trading, and that just gives shorts a little bit more of an edge, because if we have some sideways trading consolidation here, it's not the worst thing, but this gap down beneath here within VPR is just a little bit of concern. So if we spend too much time here on low volume, they could just try and take it back down into this lower region. I don't think it'll go all the way back down to the 200 SMA by any means, but it's possible. You got the gap there. So what I'm looking for, and in order to kind of maintain this bullish sentiment here above this midline, is that I want to break this regression line around 2692. A couple guys in the Discord are talking about it. This is the main point I'm looking for, 2692, and then obviously 2750. But within that region here, these are what I call vibration zones. I mean, you can have whatever terminology you kind of want for it, but it's testing a supply zone or previous supply zone. I mean, kind of what it's been acting as. So if we can break this 2692 to 2750, I think prior to Friday, like this is gonna sound crazy, but there's a chance that we go up and test this 35, 37 region, maybe even higher. I don't know. Like we could get something like BBBY and get that crazy 60%, 70% move and see that. Gosh, that would push us into the 50s. I don't want to quite call that, but I do think that if we can break this region here, there's a very good chance we see about 34 to 37. May not be the top, but just there's going to be a lot of volatility, a lot of volume coming through this if we break this region here. So keep an eye on that, 2692 to 2750. Like I said, if we can break that, we're gonna take off. Bearish scenario, I'll get into that here, is kind of breaking. Let me just pull off some of this real quick. And here goes my thinkorswim, being nice and laggy. So I'm going to pull off VPR and then get into the 180-day, 4-hour. And for whatever reason, thinkorswim loves to adjust my regression channel when I do this, so I may have to touch up a couple things here. Yeah, see, I don't know why it does this, because this should line up. This may not work. Get that up. Yeah, this is going to look a little wonky, but this is just for visual. It's going to be a little bit different here. 26. Yeah, about 2692, 2690 range. So what I want to get into on the 180-day 4-hour, a few major things that I am seeing is what's called a bullish divergence. So I'm going to leave the standard deviation lines off of here for now. A few guys in the Discord have been talking about this. Professor is one of the names. I mean, you obviously got Rico, you got a lot of great traders in there, but this is something that's been of kind of catching my eye a lot lately. So bullish divergence with the RSI is typically when you have a higher low, but a lower RSI. So bullish divergence, it's kind of a hidden bullish divergence showing that the demand underneath is outweighing the price being revealed necessarily, and it's giving you a stronger base for a larger uptick. So a few key points here, like here's a lower low, or sorry, here's your low where we tested that 200 SMA. You kind of got your RSI chilling about 55 there. And then a bullish divergence here is this guy, which is around 2270. It's a higher low, but if you notice here, your RSI is down to 51. It's just a lower RSI, but a higher lower low. And it's good to see that because that just shows that the strength is still underneath the security, but we're building a stronger base. So I mentioned this on Sunday as well, that on the 4-hour, like I don't mind this style of movement as long as we're staying in these trading ranges. I like that we retested, came up here, tested the top and broke out even the regression line, and then came back and respected this midline. But this movement here allows our RSI to cool off. That's what we need on the macro time frame, so 4-hour or greater, in order just to build our base stronger for the next leg up. So going into tomorrow, a few key ranges I'm looking at. I like the fact that we got that close. I would have liked to be up in this upper region here and kind of maintain that outside of the afternoon. You do have Fed minutes in the morning. It's kind of a backwards look on previous Fed meeting, so don't expect anything too crazy from that. If there is volatility within SPY, we could come back down and test this 2394 range. I don't know if that's needed. I think we've had enough of this kind of back and forth movement to where we could slightly pull back, but I want to see big volume in the pre-market, because if we get that big volume, this is the third day of that 3-day triple crossover that I mentioned in the last video. So if we get that volume push, we could snap this 2696 range and then break out to our 3437 mark, roughly a little bit higher potentially. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, mainly looking at this resistance line, potential retrace to here. If this somehow does not hold, again, I don't think we need to go all the way to the 50 EMA, but if they want to drag this thing down, I see a likely catch around that same mark. Potentially 23.15, most likely a little bit higher than that, but we're building a strong enough base here to where we shouldn't see too many rip downs like that. Just be prepared for the psychological volatility within the trading day. So quicker video here. I'll try and have one tomorrow, or maybe hop into live to where I can add more context to this. Just want to get this out before I step out for the evening. So watch for the retrace, potential bounce off of this. If not, early on, I think we could test this upper trading range and start trading within this region here. And we're looking for a break of 2690 region into 2750. Anything above that, we're off to the races. So that's what I'm looking at. Love this parabolic arc formation. And I'll try and leave some more descriptors on that. But this is basically setting up base 3 within that. And then once the base is set, I think that's why we maybe didn't fully get the lid lift today, is we were still kind of setting up that base along with psychological BS from these short sellers. So expecting very big movements coming out of tomorrow if we can break this region here. I really think we need to do it very soon if we want to see it before the weekend, leading into APE next week. That it's kind of the wild, wild west. I don't know exactly what's going to take place, if it's going to be split in half. I know Ranch has his theory. I like it, but at the same time, I think it goes deeper than that on the equity use of it for AMC as a currency. I know people are just concerned with the share price being reflected. Maybe I'll answer questions on that tomorrow. I dug through the 8K a lot last night and think I have a good, concise understanding of it. Just want to understand a few more of the mechanics and the way it can be of use to us outside of just the price action. So I know I've been saying I'm going to be releasing that. I don't like releasing stuff. I'm very analytical, so I want to make sure I have facts right before I build something on there. But that's my TA approach for today. Appreciate you guys hopping in here. Just like I said, like we're just a little bit range bound until we get out of this region up here. I think we're done retracing for the most part. Kind of got a bullish pennant. So if we're getting that breakout zone, I know Colin mentioned it, we usually break out where we entered. So there's a chance it kind of comes down into this region and we don't break out until Thursday. But I'm really thinking we get the movement into tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. I'll post some more TA throughout the day and potentially hop on live for YouTube tomorrow to get some better intraday price action analysis for you. So appreciate you hopping in. As always, if it was of value to you, leave a like and comment. Any questions, I try to be interactive on there as well. If not, well, I'm sorry. I try to do what I can to paint the picture that I'm given. So hope you all have a great day. Look forward to catching you guys tomorrow. Appreciate the watch, and